On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. This whole thing is blowing up in a very interesting way. Obviously, people on the left are being programmed or told that this is just this epic failure from Trump. I don't know. Whatever the case is, I know Trump is doing and looking out for all of us on this planet, trying to keep World War III from happening. NATO's pushing forward with it. We've got a whole bunch. I've got a lot of video to share on this particular episode, so let's get into it. Got some weird news. Apparently a FedEx Boeing aircraft returned to Newark Airport for an emergency landing after its right engine caught fire. I just want to point out one thing. Boeing doesn't make the engine. Just saying. Boeing doesn't make the engine. So again, they always like to call out that it's Boeing. There is this definite attempt to slime Boeing. We've had a couple Airbus issues that have happened. More Boeing, of course. And they don't ever call out that it's Airbus. Only Boeing. It's very interesting how this is playing out. Again, Boeing sucks badly. They are far cry from what they used to be. But I did want to point out the fact that engines are made by other companies. I think it was Pratt & Whitney and Rolls-Royce, and I think these are probably Pratt & Whitney, but I can't tell. Usually you see the RR when it's got the Rolls-Royce. Like Donald Trump's plane has Rolls-Royce. F-16s were scrambled and even had to deploy flares. There was some not commercial aircraft, some private aircraft that were flying in the no-fly zone above Mar-a-Lago, or close to Mar-a-Lago. F-16s were scrambled. One of them was able to get away, or basically was escorted away easily. Apparently they had to drop flares for a couple of these, two of the intercepts, and that's kind of a way to get attention of the pilot. Like, you need to do something or listen to us, or you're going to have larger problems. So nothing's come from it. How these individuals ended up where they did, whether they were just choosing to do something they shouldn't have been doing, or if maybe air traffic control gave them some bad advice. Not sure exactly, but we'll see if anything more comes from that as time progresses. Now, people on both sides who can't think for themselves, I find this very strange, super strange, in fact. People that I have basic respect for, their posting and everything else, is doing the same thing that mainstream media tends to do. They're copying and pasting very specific sentences. Very strange. DC Drano, Jack Posobiec, Chad Prather, and Swig, whoever that is. Don't know. You guys might. But they all put the same thing. It's the most transparent administration in American history. This is the most transparent administration in history. They all have said that. It's weird. Why? Why are you guys copying this phrase? Why are you trying to make this a bigger deal? Now, there is some speculation. I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but I think these guys also, these are just people not thinking for themselves. Sorry, I was thinking of something else that somebody sent me a story on. Elon Musk talking about, the left and how they've shifted in the media and everything else. That's actually a pretty good point.
The whole thing's very crazy. The media is incredibly partisan. I mean, they're not. Almost all the media is, left shifted.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird if you talk to somebody who gets all their information from like what I call legacy media. They're living in a different world.
Yeah.
Than if they say are listening to your podcast or getting news from X or just if. It's kind of wild. Like
it is very wild.
Like you talked, it's like they're living in an alternate reality.
Oh, there's a lot of people that I talk to that I have to go, where did you hear that?
Yeah,
yeah.
But I mean, like the Associated Press, which I call Associated Propaganda, the AP. They ran a international news story saying that Doge fired air traffic controllers, but we didn't fire any air traffic controllers at all. In fact, we're trying to hire air traffic controllers, not fire them.
Yeah, I saw that. You made a tweet about it, right?
And again, the same friend this morning just pulled me aside before he walked into the coffee shop because we usually don't get political, but he wanted to bring up something political with me prior to everyone showing up. And a couple people in there are hardcore Republicans in our group. It's kind of funny. He's a Democrat, former school teacher. And he was kind of spouting off some of the same like misinformation and asking why this was happening and how this is an embarrassment to our country and all this. And I'm like, Trump's trying to stop the war. And I went into how there was over $100 billion missing, that they're actually selling this weaponry on the black market for 20 cents on the dollar. It's insane how this is playing out. And when someone finally puts their foot down, oh no, we're all going to be in trouble now. Again, similar to like the first post, except this is the other side of the fence. We've got Ursula von der Leyen, we've got Roberta Metsola, Antonio Costa, Valdis Dombrovskis. I don't know how you say these people's names, but they all said the same thing. Be strong, be brave, be fearless. You are never alone, dear President Zelenskyy. They all said the exact, they talked the whole thing. Your dignity honors the bravery of Ukrainian people. We will continue to work for you for a just and lasting peace via war, it seems. So again, people are constantly pushing these very strange narratives, but again, that's how it works, and a lot of people believe it, and it is what it is. OPM's second email to federal employees asked what they did last week and adds a new requirement. Basically says, look, if you do classified stuff, just say all the stuff I did last week was classified. Basically what he's saying is respond to the email. And if you don't respond to the email by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, or all Mondays, because apparently this is going to be an ongoing thing, then you will lose your job. Period. End of story. So Musk is kicking some arse, I think, in my opinion. Very important to understand how the corruption machine works. This was a great little snippet that I think gives us a good taste.
So we started looking at all political donations from the State Department. We looked at them for USAID. And what did we find? For State Department, it was like 94% went to the left. At USAID, it was like 98% that went to the left. National Endowment for Democracy, like 95% to the left. And then we started looking at all of the partners, the international NGOs, the contractors, and started looking at all of them, where the billions and billions are going. And 95, 98%. Even World Vision Catholic Relief Services, the vast majority, well over 90% of their political donations were going to the left. You look at the boards, they're all prominent people making very high salaries. So when you think about what's happened, the left, which was misusing USAID, and they're doing this across the federal government, misusing taxpayer money as a slush fund to finance their own people. And these are folks that can go out there, do the media, be the foot soldiers of the left, give money back. And so you had a one-sided uni-party apparatus here funding only one side of the political equation. And thank you, U.S. taxpayer.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how it's been going. Here's a perfect example from our pirates, Raskin matey. He was tied in, I think I shared this on Friday, but he was tied in with a $160 million USAID connection. You might not have realized that. He, of course, was part of the squad. You guys know who he is, but he was a representative for Global Communities, a giant USAID contractor that raked in $160 million in 2023. He was part of that. So again, following the flow of the money, and you will understand why and who. And again, these guys were going after Trump to impeach him, right? How do you think they got paid for their service being done? Yeah, through stuff like this. That's exactly how they do it. This is how they get rewarded. And again, it's continuing. President Trump would not be surprised if there is no gold in Fort Knox. There should be 4,600 tons there at a value of about $430 billion. The U.S. allegedly holds 8,100 tons of gold in Fort Knox, with most remaining reserves stored at the New York Fed. So, is Trump preparing the world that there is no gold in Fort Knox? Or that there might not be? Whether the gold is or is not in Fort Knox, it could be seen as a sideshow. After all, it accounts for only 2% of all the gold ever mined in history. But, on the other hand, either little or no gold there results in no confidence in the U.S. or in the dollar. At $2,920 dollars, I think an ounce is what they're saying here. All gold officially held by the central bank is the equivalent of about $3 trillion, they're saying. Just one U.S. stock, Microsoft, has a market cap of $3 trillion. How can the value of a single American company equal the total central bank gold holdings? It tells us how overvalued stocks are and that the gold price is ridiculously low. I'm telling you guys, exponential gold move is starting. Gold is just another massive up move, and this is continuing to happen. It was a great Zero Hedge article, but I, again, got to remind you guys, this system is changing. That's a for sure. We see huge adjustments in money being spent and where it's being spent and how it's being spent. This is going to impact a lot of things that we can't necessarily see. There's a lot of question around stocks and the stock market. This is one of the many reasons why I think it's a really good idea to diversify your funds into precious metals. Also, precious metals are spiking like crazy, have gone up an insane amount. In fact, stocks are up almost, NASDAQ is up about 20% in the last 1 year. And precious metals is up about 38% in the last 1 year. Precious metals are definitely outpacing stocks, and stocks are, like many have said, overvalued. They're just one adjusted employment report or whatever forecast away from a potentially bad day in the stock market. You don't want to get caught in that. You don't want to lose your life savings. You don't want to lose a chunk of your life savings. In fact, you stand a chance to make more wealth by getting into precious metals. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Let my good friends at Goldco help you move out of your 401k or your IRA tax-free and penalty-free. It's literally physical gold. It's held in a trust because if they gave it to you in your physical hand, that's the same thing as cashing out. So you get taxed to high hell and penalized first. So first you get penalized, you lose a bunch of money, then they tax the hell out of it and steal a bunch of your money, and you're not left with very much. So the only way to do it tax-free, penalty-free is to put it into a trust. It's physical gold. They literally buy gold and put it in a thing or whatever and put your name on it. It's yours. You can literally cash it out at some point and have the precious metals sent to you, or you can convert it to cash if that's what you prefer to do. And, of course, you can continue to put money into your normal 401k IRA. This is just diversifying your funds into something else that's actually doing extraordinarily well, especially as we go through the crazy. Now, Goldco may not buy into all the crazy crap I talk about, but they are exceptionally good at helping you through this process. Up to 10% of free silver for the face value of your 401k IRA. That's pretty sweet. Also a chance at this half-ounce collectible coin, Ronald Reagan on there. It's silver. It's 0.999% pure. Beautiful, beautiful quality coin. I'm kind of actually surprised I haven't ended up with one of these. It almost surprises me, to be honest with you. I should have asked. I should just ask. They'd probably send me one. That'd be very cool. But nonetheless, beautiful coin. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Look to see how you can protect your wealth. They're definitely not doing good moves. Right now, we've got Europe trying to start World War III. Yeah, that's not going to be good for the stock market either. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system while you can, while the getting's good, and while the price of gold and silver is still continuing to go up, which it is, but it's becoming more and more expensive every day. That's the other part. You don't necessarily want to wait. Waiting is not benefiting you as far as the price of precious metals, and frankly, waiting could be very detrimental to stock prices. So keep those things in mind. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system. Fox News reports President Trump kicked Zelenskyy out. So I was playing the explosion that happened on Friday. And of course, many of you may know this, but we're going to cover through a lot of it. A lot of very interesting stuff is going on right now. People have strong statements. President Trump came out in Truth right after. He said, "We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes out through emotion. And I have determined that President Zelenskyy is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage. I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America and its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace." Now, Russia's Dmitry Medvedev was talking about this Trump-Zelenskyy meeting today. He says it was a brutal dressing down in the Oval Office. Trump told the cocaine clown the truth to his face for the first time. The Kyiv regime is playing with World War III, and the ungrateful pig got a hard slap from the masters of the pigsty. That's pretty funny. Not being overly friendly to us, but certainly having fun. Fun little picture here, the whole fight going on, and then this. I love when they do this. They show Xi Jinping calling Putin, going, "Bro, you seeing this?" And then he gets another call. "Hold up, got a line." And then, yes, of course, Kim Jong-un going, "Bro." I love these. Those ones crack me up. Zelenskyy, after being banished from the White House until he learns to be respectful. Thanks, America, finally. And he did put a post out. "Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the visit. Thank you at POTUS, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working exactly for that. Yeah. He's trying to be serious now. That's a pretty good gift that someone's got going on there. Lindsey Graham, I just want to call something out. Lindsey Graham was over in Ukraine a bunch with McCain. Big time. All right? So this dude has very quickly turned on somebody that he's probably received a lot from, which is interesting. All said, I am not going to give Lindsey Graham too much extra room on this one. I believe he's still a slimy man, but he's got to do what he's got to do to try to cover the tracks, because ultimately some stuff is going to lead back to Lindsey.
All right. For you and for us. So, what I think? Complete, utter disaster. I've been to Ukraine 8 or 9 times since the war started. I understand the consequences of Putin's actions against Ukraine. I appreciate what the Ukrainian people have done. They fought like tigers. At the end of the day, I was hoping that this minerals deal, which would be transformative in the relationship, would go over well. I talked to Zelenskyy this morning. Don't take the bait. President Trump was in a very good mood last night. Somebody asked me, am I embarrassed about Trump? I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelenskyy again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top. So I think the relationship between Ukraine and America is important, vitally important. But can Zelenskyy do a deal with the United States? After what I saw, I don't know.
What would he need to do, sir? Senator Graham.
You just had lunch with President Trump. What did he say to you about his interactions and whether he thinks
he was shocked? He was very upbeat. I told Zelenskyy, we'll talk about security guarantees. We'll talk about ceasefires and how the war ends. This is a process. You have a new relationship with America, a $500 billion, $500 billion deal that President Trump is proud of, that gives us an interest worth defending. Let's talk about the positive. But he was terrible at Munich, Zelenskyy, and I think he has made it almost impossible to sell to the American people that he's a good investment, that he is a good business partner.
Last question. Senator Graham. Hey, one at a time. One at a time. Christian Daytop.
Senator Graham, thank you. Do you think President Zelenskyy needs to resign to resume these peace talks?
He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
Thank you.
It's like the infamous line from a breakup. I can change. Yeah, so of course Lindsey Graham doing what he has to do. President Trump, here is his comments in regards to this whole thing. This is as he was on his way out the door. I think it's a pretty good place to start.
Investing $500 billion. Think of that. And that's going to be a lot. It's going to be a tremendous investment. I guess the biggest investment anybody's ever made in the country at one time. But they're going to be investing a lot of money, $500 billion. We have many other companies that just announced they're coming in. A lot of it's because of how we're doing. We've done a great turnaround in a little more than 30 days, but the country's really doing well. Really doing well. We're respected again all over the world. If you look, we had the Japanese Prime Minister. We had the Prime Minister yesterday of UK, as you know. We had the Prime Minister of India. We have another 20 Prime Ministers and Presidents wanting to come. And very good feeling. I think our country has really turned around. We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelenskyy, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up a strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war and play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight. We're looking to end the death. 2,000 people died this week. Soldiers, more than that, but 2,000 approximately people died this week. Young Ukrainians and Russians. And somebody would say, why do you care about Ukraine and Russian soldiers? I care about them. I care about everybody. And we're not doing that. Now, if we don't do anything, he's going to have to make peace, but he's dealing with a very weak set of cards. If we sign, he's dealing with a very strong set of cards, and then he doesn't want to make peace. So that's where we are. It's very simple. I'm not looking to get into anything protracted. I want immediate peace. President Putin is going to want to make, and he wants to end it. And you saw what I saw today. This is a man that wants to get us signed up and keep fighting, and we're not doing that. Not for this country. So we're setting a lot of records. Economically, we're setting records, and I think every way we're setting records. One of the best is the right track, wrong track. You saw that. We're on the right track for the first time in over 27 years. People are impressed with that. The other thing is the feeling about our country. The feeling is great. It's up 48% on feeling on business. And that's the record we've never had. There's never been a record where we've ever gone up that much in such a short period of time. So we're doing really well. And I guess some of you are coming with us. And if you are, I hope you're going to have a good flight. What? He's got to say, I want to make peace. He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer. His people are dying. He doesn't have the cards, just so you understand it, okay? I can tell you.
Would you tell Zelensky to leave the White House?
I don't have to tell you that. Go ahead. I think you know the answer to it. What? Wait. Look, I don't trust or distrust anybody. I just want to get a deal done. And if the deal happens, good. But you can't embolden somebody that does not have the cards, and all of a sudden that person says, oh, well, now I can keep fighting. We're not going to keep fighting. We're going to get the war done or let them go and see what happens. Let them fight it out. I want anybody that's going to make peace. If he's capable of making peace, which he may or may not be, but I want somebody that's going to make peace. Again, he doesn't have the cards. When we sign up, he's got all of the cards. That doesn't mean he can fight. He's got to stop the fighting, stop the death. He's losing hundreds of thousands of soldiers. It's time to stop the death. Say it? Well, he says he wants it now. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that.
Do you want immediate ceasefire?
They should have an immediate ceasefire. That was the other thing he didn't want to do about ceasefire. A ceasefire could take place immediately. A contract, if you want to end the war, you sign up an agreement. That's going to take a period of time. It takes time. I want it to end immediately. And I think if you had a ceasefire, it would be a ceasefire, a real one, that would end it. But he doesn't want to do that. That's fine. Do a better deal. I want it to end immediately. I want a ceasefire now. He says, oh, I don't want a ceasefire. Well, all of a sudden, he's a big shot because he has the U.S. on his side. Either we're going to end it or let him fight it out. And if he fights it out, it's not going to be pretty. Because without us, he doesn't win. Let me tell you. It doesn't matter what I'm considering. I'm just telling you. You saw what I saw today. That was not a man that wanted to make peace. And I'm only interested if he wants to end the bloodshed. Thank you very much.
And that's powerful, right? He wants to end the war. He wants the fighting to stop. He has the overwhelming majority of the well, I would say overwhelming majority. I would say it's got to be close to 60, 65% of people really do want to see the war end, maybe higher than that. I know the polls that will be played out on the TV aren't going to reflect that, but we know better than trusting those, right? So again, here's Zelenskyy trying to water things down a little bit, trying to, still didn't say sorry, which is interesting because he was asked to, basically.
Fire during all these years, 10 years.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect President and I respect American people. And if, I don't know, if I think that we have to be very open and very honest. And I'm not sure that we did something bad. I think maybe sometimes some things we have to discuss out of media, with all respect to democracy and to a free media. But there are things where we have to understand the position of Ukraine and Ukrainians. And I think that is the most important thing. Yes. Fire.
And again, trying to get people to understand, this is the one thing that's the sticking point, at least that my friend was pointing out this morning. And I didn't really get into this because it just would have been a longer talk than it needed to be. I covered it from a different angle. But the whole idea that that somehow Russia should give back the land it took. Here's the thing. Initially, before Zelenskyy became president, when the CIA overthrew their existing governor or president beforehand, that president was very pro-Russia. They had a great relationship with Russia. And obviously the people in Crimea and Donbass and Lenat, whatever the hell that other one is, right? All of those people were very pro-Russian. They speak Russian. They are very much happy about Russia. They like Russia. Well, when they did the regime change, they put in somebody that hated Russia and liked the West. Then they started having problems with Crimea, Donetsk, Luhansk, right? They started having problems with them, started shelling them. Literally started shooting artillery into them and basically kind of went to war within their own city because these people were pro-Russia. And the current regime, Zelenskyy, was not pro-Russia. And so that land that has been annexed was annexed because these people are pro-Russian and Ukraine does not like them right now. So if that changes, maybe a new regime that's a little more pro-Putin or pro-Russia, maybe they get that land back. I'd bet literally that Putin would be happy to give it back. Only if you stop attacking them, because then we can't come back in and save them. So that's the whole problem. And they're going to want to say, well, you've got to give the land back. Let's explain why this is a problem. Let's explain why they took the land and then explain to them, look, if you can promise to stop attacking your own people, I bet Russia would give them back. If you can't, then no. Russia's going to keep it. And they should. Nobody should be getting killed, especially by their own governments. Biden, bastard. The People's Deputy of Ukraine has now called for an emergency parliamentary session to discuss impeaching President Vladimir Zelenskyy. Their own country is about to push this bastard out the door, which is a good thing, for sure, right? This is maybe how it's supposed to play out. Elon Musk posted this, time to find out what really happened to the hundreds of billions of dollars sent to Ukraine. Yeah, we are going to get to that point. We got various heads of state all over the place are talking about Zelenskyy and the friends and how they're not alone. We've got, I guess, just a whole bunch of people. Do I recognize any of these names? I think these are people from Europe, prominent people, whatever. And they're all just coming out, and Justin Trudeau, there's one. But they're all coming out just basically saying, no, we're pro-Ukraine. We got your back no matter what. And it's like, good. And good. That's exactly what the United States was trying to do. Thank you, NATO. Now, again, this is not going to work well for them. They're starting to realize it. Here is, whatever that, Starmer, or whatever the hell. I swear I talked to my buddies. That is not a common name in England, so thank God. But here is him trying to basically offer up the world to Ukraine, but without the U.S.'s support.
Cheers on the street outside. You have full backing across the United Kingdom, and we stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it may take. And I hope you heard some of that cheering in the street. That is the people of the United Kingdom coming out to demonstrate how much they support you how much they support Ukraine and our absolute determination to stand with you, unwavering determination, and to achieve what we both want to achieve, which is a lasting peace for Ukraine based on sovereignty and security for Ukraine. So important for Ukraine, so important for Europe, and so important for the United Kingdom. So I'm much looking forward to our discussions here this afternoon. Thank you very much for making the time to come.
With pleasure. Thank you very much, Keir. Mr. Prime Minister, happy to be here. And really, I saw a lot of people, and I want to thank you, people of the United Kingdom, such big support from the very beginning of this war. Thank you, your team. And I'm very happy that His Majesty the King accepted my meeting tomorrow, and I'm thankful that you organized such a great summit for tomorrow. And we are very happy in Ukraine that we have such strategic partners. We signed with you historic documents.
100-year agreement.
Yeah, we have only with you such documents with the United Kingdom. So we're happy, and we count on your support. And really, we're really happy that we have such partners and such friends.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lydia.
No, what's funny is I want to use the analogy that, like, in tennis, how we've hit the ball back to you, England. But in reality, it's not a good analogy because you can't hit it back to us. I don't think we just necessarily clobbered you. I don't see it like that, right? So analogy kind of falls apart. But ultimately, this is now Europe's problem. And really, that's where Trump wanted it mostly, in considering how much money we've given, how much of it we can't account for, how much of it we know is being sold on the black market. Yeah, sorry, we can't keep doing this. CNN Scott Jennings says this, and this dude's like, I hate to say it, and I'm going to get beat up for it online, but I agree with you.
We're their patron. We're their best hope for the killing to stop and for them to emerge from this sovereign and prosperous. And we're also their best hope as a business partner. I mean, all Zelenskyy had to do today was put on a tie, show up, smile, say thank you, sign the papers, and have lunch. That's it. And he couldn't do that. This did not have to go down this way.
Okay.
And however you feel about why it started, why it's going on, who's right and who's wrong, we can help them in this and come out okay on the other side, and he's making it hard.
Now, first of all,
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I actually agree with Scott. And everything that he said was basically right.
Wow.
I know. I'm going to get killed on social media for admitting that, but so be it.
The short answer is the Trump administration believes that if Ukraine goes into business with the United States, that in and of itself is a security guarantee. If your interests become our interests, we're going to be interested in making sure our interests are secure. So it would have been wise for him to understand the economic deal, the mineral deal, is a security guarantee in and of itself. And he lost sight of that today in the argument. Either way, Zelenskyy certainly had been briefed on what the right way to handle this was. And all he had to do was walk in there and say, thank you. I'm really grateful to be here. We want to be partners with the United States. We're grateful for your leadership. Where's the papers? And what are we having for lunch? That's all he had to do.
Yep. And he couldn't do that. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelenskyy took to social media Saturday to clarify comments he made during the contentious back and forth with President Trump at the White House a day earlier, saying lasting peace in Eastern Europe would be difficult without U.S. support, probably impossible. Zelenskyy, in a lengthy thread on the social platform X, expressed gratitude for the U.S.'s assistance to Kyiv during Russia's 3-year invasion of his country, reiterated the two nations' strategic partnership, and said no one wants peace more than Ukraine. Quote, we've been fighting for 3 years, and Ukrainian people need to know that America is on our side. Peace can only come when we know we have security guarantees, when our army is strong and our partners are with us. It will be difficult without the U.S. support, but we can't lose our will, our freedom, and our people. We've seen how Russia came to homes and killed many. Nobody wants another wave of occupation. If we cannot be accepted to NATO, we need some clear structure of security guarantees from our allies in the U.S. Zelenskyy, while acknowledging Trump's talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin about negotiating an end to the war, argued that a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine would not work, pointing to several deals Putin has broken in the past. He said that while the minerals deal should go forward, it may still not be enough. Yeah, well, it's not going to be enough, probably at all. NATO issues a dire warning to Volodymyr Zelenskyy as Keir Starmer hugs him at number 10, I guess, amid frantic talks, right? But very warmly welcomed, but all that it's coming down to is Europe realizes that this is on them, that they need to step up, that NATO as a whole needs to step up. Everybody's going to have to start paying more, and they're well aware of it. Now, an interesting story came out from Express. They said Norway fuel giant refuses to fill U.S. submarines after Trump-Zelenskyy clash. Odds that the fuel people are talking about filling U.S. submarines, as our submarines are, I want to say, 100% nuclear. There might be a few diesels, one floating around out there, but they're overwhelmingly nuclear. So what fuel are you providing us? It may be cooking fuel, but I think they do electric on submarines, to the best of my understanding, because of the danger of fires on board and just how they tend to be a really bad thing inside a enclosed space like a submarine. They use fire on surface ships because, well, frankly, it's a lot better if you catch fire in a surface ship. You know, you can air it out. Can't do that so well in a submarine. It becomes toxic and deadly very quickly. So they use electric. So I know they're not using it for cooking. Not sure what else they'd have fuel for. Maybe, torpedoes and stuff? I don't know. I think those are electric. So I don't know. Whatever the case was, Pete Hegseth ended up making a comment. And he said, we have seen reports raising concerns about U.S. Navy vessels in Norway. This is not in line with the Norwegian government policy. I can confirm that all requested support has been provided. The U.S. and Norway maintain a close and strong defense cooperation. American forces will continue to receive the supply and support they require from Norway. So this is, again, just a rag or some company that thought that they could do whatever they wanted because they're mad at the United States and they want to punish us. But that's kind of not how the world works, unfortunately for them. Protesters critical of Elon Musk were very pissed off and went into one of his dealerships again. I think this was in New York? Yeah, Lower Manhattan. Some of it, them doing damage and whatnot.
Elon Musk. Nobody voted for Elon Musk. Nobody voted.
That chick was trying to let in a bunch of people. It did look like there was broken glass over here on the side, but yeah, they didn't let him in. They tried to get in, but yeah, Elon Musk. I don't know why those people are allowed to be in there and nobody else is. I don't get it. But maybe the cops are on their way. Marco Rubio. He's secretary. I don't know why it says Senator Rubio, but anyway, he's claiming that Vladimir Putin is going to have to get the Nobel Prize this year, or that should be the man of the year. Anyway, let's let him play this. It seems weird what they're saying up here.
No one here is claiming Vladimir Putin is going to get the Nobel Peace Prize this year, or that he should be the man of the year of the Humanitarian Association. What we're arguing here is he has a very large country. They're in full war footing. They're cranking out weapons now at a war footing pace, and we need to figure out, is there a way to get them to stop the war? And the only way you're going to do that is to get Russians engaged in negotiations, something the Europeans haven't been able to do, the Biden administration wasn't able to do or didn't even try. That's the goal here. It's that simple. Can we try to sit with them and figure out whether there's anything, what are the Russians' demands, under what conditions would the Russians be willing to stop this war? And as I said, we don't know what those are because we haven't talked to them in 3 years. That's the singular goal here, is to try to bring about an end to this conflict, and it begins by getting them to the table. Ultimately, like any truce, like any peace agreement anywhere in the world, those things will have to be enforced, they'll have to be enduring, there'll have to be safeguards put in place. Everybody understands that, but it begins with the first step, and that is engaging them to see if it's even possible. Because if it's not possible, then what we're looking at is a protracted stalemate with thousands of people dying, billions of dollars pouring in, and more death and destruction. And that's not something the president wants to be a part of. He's made it very clear.
Yeah, we're all tired of that. U.S. approves new Russian ambassador as major reset is underway. They finally did get the embassy open. The ambassador is going to be going in there, and we are going to be opening our embassy in Russia, or probably Moscow, I would assume. This is obviously any of the people that are going to go to that embassy don't have marijuana with you. We've learned anything. Don't go to Russia with marijuana. That's a big, fat no-no. Yeah, we'll put you in jail, and they'll eventually exchange you out for some like really serious prisoner, and that's just messed up. But yes, they are working towards talking, towards bringing peace, towards two nations getting along again. And this, again, is something that's absurd. One, to the deep state. Deep state can't have it. They need a boogeyman. But two, the left can't handle it. They've been told so many times that Russia, 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 bad, bad, bad. Russia, 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 bad, bad, bad. That it's tattooed on their brain. And they're going to have a hard time with this. They're like, well, I don't understand why we make friends with someone that's bad, bad, bad. Because we should all get along. You guys used to say that back in the day. Not anymore. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said ahead of the Lancaster House Summit on Sunday that Britain and France will work to craft a Ukraine ceasefire deal that would be presented to the United States. Now, here's the thing. I don't think Russia's going to agree to give up the land unless, they have an election and, put someone in that the people actually want. Maybe, but at that point, like I've said, Russia's not going to be okay with Ukraine starting to attack the people in those lands like they did already. Just not going to be okay with it. So that's one thing that I know Europe's going to try to do, and they're going to try to basically force this to go back to how it was. This is the funny thing. If you get in wars and you lose, you lost a war. Bad things tend to happen. Ask Germany. They didn't feel so great about the end of World War II. Made them pay a lot of money, which, I don't know. I mean, a lot of stuff came from, if you think, just all the third of their scientists went to Antarctica, supposedly, or at least, Argentina or Chile, I think, wherever it was, South America someplace on the West Coast. So who knows? And then Russia got a bunch of their scientists, and we got a bunch of their scientists. That was the end of the war, and hence the two rocket programs and weapons programs that ensued from that. And here we are, 80 years later. Not good. So we'll see what Europe comes up with, but they're obviously they're going to try to do something that's going to be very pro-Ukraine, and I don't think that's going to go over well. Michael Flynn had a really, really good point. It's worth it. Check it out.
What we're seeing in Ukraine is we're seeing a country that is, and everybody knows this now, there's no more hiding this. So why is Ukraine so important? Well, it's a hub for human trafficking. It's a hub specifically for child trafficking. It's a hub for narcotics trafficking. It's a hub for weapons trafficking. We know about our biolabs because Victoria Nuland said we had them there. I mean, we've always known that, but that's stated now publicly. And there's a lot of money just flowing into this country. And you say to yourself, where is this money going? And is it money laundering? Is it money laundering? I mean, money you name it. Just this week, and it may not have come up on your screen, but I know you pay attention a lot. I mean, there's a couple of people. I think one of them is somebody in the Ministry of Defense there, and it might be the Minister of Defense, or it may be somebody in his orbit. They're buying these gigantic homes for millions and millions of dollars, and you say to yourself, how is this the case?
Yeah, how are they affording all this stuff? It's a mess how it works out, but we are figuring it out. It's coming to terms, and they're getting shut down. Maria Bartiromo had two great guests, and we need to hear from both of them, and I believe they're both talking about this whole Zelenskyy thing. This, of course, is Howard Lutnick, and he's just huge common sense. I think you guys will appreciate this.
Well, Secretary, you were sitting across from the president on Friday. Before we get to tariffs, I want to get your reaction to what went down. How was it in the room? And do you believe Democrats were egging on Zelenskyy to not say thank you, to stay tough and not sign that rare earth minerals deal?
No, so we were 40 minutes before the cameras came in and 45 minutes before the meltdown. And the fact was Zelenskyy never stopped asking for, I will give no concessions. They've got to leave my land. I want reparations of $300 billion. And I want the United States to give me security guarantees while they're at war with Russia. And that's why the president called it World War III. You're gambling with World War III. We're not going to give you security guarantees while you're at war with Russia. It's just ridiculous. His requests were ridiculous. They were not reasonable. The president let it go for a while, he was there to make peace. Our president is there to make peace, as he said, end the death and Zelensky was not there to make peace. He was there to strike some sort of make-believe bargain that he had in his mind, and eventually that just ran its course, and Donald Trump said, I can't take this nonsense anymore, and made it crystal clear he's the peacemaker, and if Zelensky's not interested in peace, then he should go home and think about it.
And that's what happened. He was asked to leave. I don't know exactly the language President Trump used, but he said, get the heck out of here. Do you think that Zelensky had met with Democrats before meeting with Trump, and basically they told him, stay firm, don't give in to anything, don't do the rare earth minerals deal?
I can't imagine that. Gosh, I hope not. I mean, that would be dreadful. You know, so the fact is the president just wants to make peace. He tried to make peace. We had a beautiful lunch arranged. We had a signing, tables all set up. This was designed to be beautiful, right? And instead we had lunch by ourselves without the Zelensky crowd there, because they just did not come for peace. And our president's there, as he said, to end the death and to create peace. And that's who Donald Trump is, and he knows how to do it. He even said, you know, you have to be reasonable to Putin. You can't say, Putin's a terrorist, and then call the guy up and try to make peace with him. So you have to play balanced. Donald Trump knows how to be mediator. He knows how to arbitrate this, and he needs Zelensky on side, and Zelensky needed to hear it directly from the funding mouth of the United States of America. We're not going to give you money unless you're here for peace.
Period. And that's right. That's like where it should be. Now, just to remind everybody, Mike Lee posted this. Our NATO friends have a short memory. This is breaking down the $1.3 trillion in NATO defense spending. United States, of that $1.3 trillion, we spent $860 billion. Germany, UK, they up around the highest, $68 billion in Germany, $65 billion in the UK, $56 billion in France. Those are the three biggest. We're $860 billion. The three of them combined aren't even a third of what we've spent, or close to that. No, they're not even a quarter. I mean, it's insane. So these people don't realize what's going on, and, well, they're starting to figure it out now. The liberal world is definitely collapsing right now. This is pretty good.
I was looking around social media today, and it struck me that a lot of people who like to start wars are suddenly very angry with one guy who wants to stop this war. And there are people who have taken us into one disaster after another, war in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, who have spent much of today on social media attacking Trump. What we're seeing, I think, is a reset of geopolitics, a reset. We're seeing the breakdown of what you might call the international liberal world order, which saw 20, 30 years of one foreign policy disaster after another. And Trump, I was at the inauguration in America, and people around the president are basically saying, they've had enough of that constant interventionism. They've had enough of Europe, by the way, again, maybe a controversial point, but Europe not paying its way on defence. And they've looked to Germany, they've looked to France, they've looked to Italy, they've looked to the UK, and they said, what are you guys doing? Take Germany as an example. Germany under the Greens, absolutely bonkers, becoming more dependent upon Russia because of its ridiculous energy policy, becoming more dependent upon China, and then turning around and criticising Donald Trump when he says we've got to end this war. I mean, I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense anymore. There are two things that need to happen. One is, Ukraine obviously needs to be involved in the negotiated settlement, that's obvious, but the second key point is this now has to be a line in the sand. After this negotiated settlement, Europe is going to have to pay to defend itself. We cannot just rely on America, because understandably they're saying, look, we've got China, we've got our problems on the border, we've got to revitalise our economy. So I think for everybody who sat there criticising Donald Trump, I do think we need to look at ourselves in the mirror and think, actually, are we getting this right here in Europe?
100%. Dude's a rock star. Absolute rock star. So, yeah, hopefully everyone's figuring it out. I think playing this, what the hell? You have to look at the screen, obviously, because he's speaking Russian, but the subtitles are there.
В том числе с американским. Да, кстати говоря, мы, готовы были бы предложить и американским нашим партнерам, когда я партнеры, говорю, имею в виду только административные, правительственные структуры, ну и компании, если бы они...
All right, I'll save you the pain. I now remember what he was talking about. So he's talking about going into business with the United States and working with us to give us some of these mineral rights, some rights to the minerals, to actually buy some of them from him, basically. Work out a deal with the United States, actually have American companies come in there and spend money in Russia. It would actually be a good idea for the big picture. Again, for the deep state cabal, they can't have that. But Trump wants to see the world get back together. Business is one great way to do that, obviously, so we see it continuing. UK PM Starmer proposes a new plan for Ukraine and wants Europe to up their economic spending. So, again, they're all figuring it out. I guess I don't need to play this all, but the UK, they are prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air. Yeah, I guess we should play this because they're about to march us into World War II.
First, we will keep the military aid flowing and keep increasing the economic pressure on Russia to strengthen Ukraine now. Second, we agreed that any lasting peace must ensure Ukraine's sovereignty and security, and Ukraine must be at the table. Third, in the event of a peace deal, we will keep boosting Ukraine's own defensive capabilities to deter any future invasion. Fourth, we will go further to develop a coalition of the willing to defend a deal in Ukraine and to guarantee the peace. Not every nation will feel able to contribute, but that can't mean that we sit back. Instead, those willing will intensify planning now with real urgency. The UK is prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air. Together with others, Europe must do the heavy lifting. But to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong US backing. We're working with the US on this point after my meeting with President Trump last week. And let me be clear, we agree with the President on the urgent need for a durable peace. Now we need to deliver together. Finally, we agreed that leaders will meet again very soon to keep the pace behind these actions and to keep working towards this shared plan. We are at a crossroads in history today. This is not a moment for more talk. It's time to act, time to step up and lead, and to unite around a new plan for a just and enduring peace. Thank you.
You got to figure England's stoked that they got this douchehole at the helm right now while you guys are going through this. So, yeah, we'll see. But they are trying to, again, the security deal is a big key thing with that. Because, like, how we're going to force this, and I think a lot of that's going to have to do with Russia leaving the land they've taken. And I think that's a contentious deal breaker for Russia, period. End of story. Trump knows that. Trump understands the bigger picture here. Europe doesn't care. Deep state doesn't care. So they're going to come up with this plan. Ukraine's going to like it because they get everything. They don't lose anything other than the million plus people that have died. But he gets to keep his land. He gets to keep his face, if you will. But that ain't going to happen. And I don't think the plan's going to work. I don't think Europe can afford to continue walking this walk without our money, period. And Trump knows that. He knows it. This would bankrupt Europe probably within 6 months. It would put them in such extreme debt, people would actually start to rise up in their own countries because of how pissed off they'd be. This is going to be interesting how we get there. The State Department this week terminated a U.S. Agency for International Development, a USAID, an initiative that was invested hundreds of millions of dollars and was meant to help restore Ukraine's energy grid from attacks by the Russian military, according to two USAID officials working on the agency. In addition to ending the Ukraine's energy security project, USAID is also dramatically downsizing its presence in Ukraine. Ukraine, their money spigot is drying up. And that's it. That's all there is to it. It's not going to come back. It is not something that we're going to continue to do. This is just insane. This lady, her mom threatens to call CPS. Or, I'm sorry, this doctor threatens to call CPS. One thing I really want you to pay note to is he's the first doctor telling her this. She says, I want to get a second opinion. He goes, well, I am your second opinion. She goes, no, you're the first doctor that's ever told me this. And he goes, well, I'm your first opinion and your second opinion. It's like, huh? This dude's a dick, and she does the right thing at the end, but this is crazy, and I'm not sure exactly where this is.
Medicine, or else you're going to call CPS on me?
Let's be real. I never said anything about forcing you. I'm saying this is what's recommended for your kid. You have to put your kid on these meds. Like, it's best for your kid. I'm trying to do you a favor. Not even do you a favor. Do what's best for your child. And if you don't follow these instructions, ma'am, I will be forced to call CPS.
So you are forcing me. You're saying either I put my kid on medication that they don't need.
I will be forced to call CPS. What you're doing right now is jeopardizing your kid, jeopardizing your kid's future. I'm not trying to sit here and argue with you. I'm not debating with you. I'm the doctor, so I'm telling you what's best for you and your kid.
But I don't understand, because my child has not shown any symptoms of ADHD, and I'm asking if I can get a second opinion, and you're telling me no, either put my child on medication or you're calling CPS. Okay. That's forcing me.
You asked about a second opinion. I am your second opinion. I'm the doctor.
No, you're not. You are the first opinion.
Okay. All right. Well, first and second. Why? I'm your doctor. If you don't trust your doctor, then you shouldn't be, coming here. Which is crazy for you to think that you wouldn't want to.
If I trusted my doctor wouldn't be threatening me with calling CPS. That would be me trusting my doctor.
Like I said, it's not a threat. It's not a threat. I'm trying to do what's best for you and your kid. If you love your kid enough, then you will listen to my words.
Don't tell me if I love my kid or not. That's my kid. That's my kid.
I understand that's your kid, but understand that I'm the doctor. I am doing what's best for your kid. I'm literally showing you the results. I'm giving you the best advice. Put your kid on these medications because it's best for them. If not, by law, I am forced to call CPS because you're showing signs that you don't love your kid enough to actually put your kid on these medications.
I have never heard of this. We came here for a checkup. Their teachers have never, ever asked me to get them tested for ADHD. Okay. So this is a surprise to me, which is why I asked for a second opinion. And now you're just threatening to call CPS on me. That doesn't make any sense.
Fine, but look at how you're acting. That's fine. Of course, your teacher's not going to tell you that your kid is. These kids run around all day and they play and they're hyper and they do what they do, correct?
Right. So my kid's a normal kid. You know what? Call CPS. Call CPS. They're going to see my clean, loving home. Call them. I don't care. I'm out.
Thank God. That's insane. And if you don't love your kid enough, I mean, that's psychological warfare. That's hardcore. That is really, really hardcore. In a rare and extraordinary pushback, new FBI Director Kash Patel talked about this whole honeypot thing that's floating around right now. This is what Kash Patel's saying. He says it's not true. He said the female agent was falsely referenced in the media this week as part of an alleged whistleblower disclosure. She was not a honeypot. He says, I have reviewed the matter again, and she did the limited job assigned to her. These actions were also reviewed by Special Counsel John Durham, and he found no evidence of any wrongdoing by her. This agent had dedicated her life to public service, and I will have her back for it. So everybody's saying this was a honeypot thing. He's specifically saying that is not what she was doing. Again, maybe I don't even know, but I trust Kash, and this is looking bad on the agent, and I think that's a big part of it. We got Devin Nunes talking about Kash Patel and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, and maybe some of the secrets they might start digging into. Kind of cool. Check it out.
Give us your reaction to Kash Patel and Dan Bongino running the FBI. How do you expect things to change? Where will the priorities be?
Well, if you look at both of these individuals, they were heavily involved in the Russia hoax and made it available for the American people. Kash, of course, being our lead investigator, focused on following the money. So they know about the abuses of the FBI. They know about the abuses of the Department of Justice. But at the end of the day, these are both real lawmen that are smart, that I think are going to reinvigorate the FBI. And Maria, this is at a time when nobody's talking about this, but they should be, because we had this wide open border for the last 4 years. There is a counterterrorism problem in this country, one of which we've never seen. Think about it, 200 countries around the globe, and I guarantee you there are people from every single one of those countries, of which dozens and dozens of them don't like the United States of America. So I think that both Director Patel and Dan Bongino are going to have to focus on, let's find these bad guys that are in the country. Let's make sure we arrest them. I think it's one of the reasons why President Trump has said we need to open up Gitmo. Why? Because we have really dangerous criminals that are in here looking to do harm for America. So the FBI has its work cut out for them, but I think both of these individuals will not only do it fairly, but also reinvigorate reinvigorate the FBI to focus on getting criminals and finding terrorists.
Do you believe anyone will be held accountable for the Russia collusion hoax that ripped the country apart?
There are still things that need to be declassified. I think the Attorney General, along with the FBI and John Ratcliffe over at the CIA, will get these documents out. And look, as the President's chair of the Intelligence Advisory Board, we will ensure that that happens. And in fact, if they want to lean on us to do some of that declassification, we will over time. But the American people want to close this dark chapter in American history and really put an end to it. And the way you do that is with sunlight and let these documents out.
Which, I guess kind of reminds me, I don't feel like any stories came up today around the Epstein files. It's one thing a lot of people have been talking a lot about, and everybody expects everything to come out now instantly. They're really upset with what did come out. It was kind of crap. I just want to remind people, one, there are investigations. Two, one thing that you're probably not going to like, but I'll almost guarantee is accurate, is there are rich and powerful people, and I think we've seen some of them behaving differently lately. I would say Tim Cook being one of them. I would also say Zuckerbucks would be one of them. There's a few of these people that are behaving noticeably different than they used to be. Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure that Trump has let the bad guys, however this works out, or the bad guys just know that we have the Epstein list. And I think he's gone to some of these people and said, look, here's the thing. I've got the list. I know what you've done. If you want that to stay quiet, you need to start playing for our team, or else your name's going to get released with everybody else's. So as much as many may hate this, and I'm not sure 100% what they've done wrong, because every person deserves their day in court. And that's another thing many of us do, is we assume guilt. They're going to be on that list, so they're definitely guilty of pedophilia. I mean, not necessarily. I'm sure there was lots of people that went and cheated on their spouse, but not necessarily with a child, right? Not everybody's fetishes were necessarily like that, but they cheated on their spouse, right? So it didn't have to be illegally, per se. So there might be a lot of stuff there that's maybe not what we assume. Make an ass out of you and me, right? So that's one thing that a lot of us need to try to put in perspective a little bit. We don't know what they're guilty of. They deserve their day in court. We've done all this information finding and digging, but we also know that people of age were there having sex too. We know that. There's people that flew on the plane that were over 18. There was definitely some that were younger. We know that. We know the same thing with Diddy. We also know there was underage stuff that happened with Diddy. Same concept. We probably know who these people are, especially now that we're getting into SDNY and that other New York office. So we're digging into it, and stuff is happening. This was pretty awesome. Mark Levin talking to Pam Bondi. And again, just I think we're hearing the right stuff from the right people. That's why I feel like it's important to play it.
Welcome back, America. We're here with, and I'm very excited about this, Attorney General Pam Bondi, a good friend, especially a good friend of my wife, but a wonderful lady, a great lawyer. Welcome to the program, Madam Attorney General. I want to get into this Epstein thing a little bit. I think the American people are very curious about who's on this list, or these lists. You have been doggedly trying to get all the information, and now we learn, thanks to you, that you've been stonewalled by people in New York. Do you want to explain that?
Yes, Mark. So as you know, we released about 120 pages of documents, and I started asking for these documents right when I came into office and before Kash Patel was in there. So I ended up getting about 120 pages. We carefully redacted them, of course, to be sure the 254 young girls, women who are victims of sex crimes and sex trafficking, their personal information was redacted and out of there to protect them. So I'm going through it, and I kept saying, there has to be more, there has to be more. I'm assured that's it. Kash asked the same questions. Assured there's no more. I found out, this week that a source told me New York, SDNY, they're sitting on thousands of pages of documents regarding Epstein. Thousands. And of course, you've seen the very strong letter. We will get everything. We will have it in our possession. We will redact it, of course, to protect grand jury information and confidential witnesses, but the American people have a right to know. And Donald Trump is the most transparent president in our nation's history. So not only will America get the full Epstein files, they will get JFK, they will get Martin Luther King.
Well, that's fantastic, but I assume the Southern District of New York is, or has been, holding on to this information for a reason. That is, they don't like the names on the list. And, of course, we know New York is a hotbed of the Democrat Party, and that includes in legal circles. Do you think that's part of the issue here, that they're trying to protect a lot of names and individuals?
You know, Mark, I have not reviewed the information yet. And as a lawyer, as a prosecutor, I want to review everything before I make a firm conclusion. But I think it's very interesting that they withheld that from us. And I will find out who withheld it, and they will not be working for us anymore.
So once all that's gathered, you're just going to put it out in the public with the obvious necessary redactions, including the people who were the victims and the phone numbers and so forth. But for the perpetrators, I assume that we'll see those names, yes?
Well, certainly. There's nothing can be withheld on that. Of course, as you know, grand jury information, anything confidential will be withheld under the law. And we're going to do everything in our power to protect the victims so they're not further victimized also.
Let me ask you a question kind of in this vein, and it may be too early to know because you just got to the Department of Justice. This guy, Jack Smith, his team of lawyers and so forth and so on, do we know yet, and I happen to know that is a big damn department with a lot of people, and so it just takes time to figure things out, but do we happen to know yet whether they complied with all the requirements of the Presidential Records Act and the Espionage Act? That is, did they store all their materials for you folks to look at when you choose to look at it? Do we know that, or did they remove or destroy any of it?
Mark, that's what we're looking at now. We're going through all of that. And now that I just got Kash Patel in as FBI director, he's, of course, a tremendous help. I've been in office, barely 2 weeks, and it feels like 2 years. We are going nonstop. We will get to the bottom of that. And as you know, the first thing I did was fire the Jack Smith team. That was the ultimate weaponization of our country and our government.
Let's get a little...
My guess, too, on kind of how the disclosure would play out, especially for those that maybe are playing the game properly. I would kind of assume, or guess, maybe even is a better way to put it, that there is a discussion with some of these people that it would be really easy for us to maybe remove a page or two and not make those public, right? You could keep those classified still. Nobody needs to know. They could say they're all released. They don't even need to say minus a few pages. But they release a bunch, and the ones that they have released, well, have names. And so you'd almost think that they would kind of have a deadline put in front of these guys, or this being held over their heads. God forbid you do anything like one of the rumors I've heard that's very likely possible. I think it's a threat. I don't think it's going to happen necessarily, but it's one of those things where the deep state makes threats that if we do certain things, like if you release the Epstein client list, we will do X, Y, and Z. I think one of those things is blowing up the Golden Gate Bridge. That would be pretty catastrophic. It'd be very expensive, and it would hurt commerce tremendously. And these are things that could happen. There's other bridges, I think, that would likely be taken down. That would just be one of the meanest things they could do. There's other accidents. I mean, we're seeing a reasonable spike in plane crashes, but not actually outside the norm that much. But a lot's happening. And again, do a couple pages get missing, right? Do we just not see them ever, and we see everything else? So we'll see, and then whether they leak it, piece by piece, it'll also be interesting to see as well. So again, it is going to be hard to tell, but we will eventually get there. I want to talk about Healthy Home. I love these guys, and I'm just getting so much cool feedback. I don't think I've ever been so excited about a product. Probably MyPillow at first. I will be honest, because I was pretty stoked. I still am, but I love MyPillow. In fact, great product. But they, it's like I've been sleeping on it for 2 years now. It's not nearly as exciting as the honeymoon was, right? Like the marriage is over. We don't even have sex anymore. Just kidding. It's funny how it works. Healthy Home is a very powerful product, though. STEM Active, I'm hearing from numerous people at this point. That's not the right product. From numerous people that we are seeing improvements in like joints. That's definitely one thing. Shoulders, knees, I'm hearing about right now. And again, making no promises here, but STEM Active is a formula that helps boost your own ability to produce stem cells. It enhances it significantly. Studies have shown it goes up 25 to 40% a lot. Very quickly, by the way. Very quickly. Like within, like half an hour type thing. Like once this stuff starts floating in your system, boom, you're on your way. And stem cells are cells that can become other cells, specific cells, right? Cartilage cell, maybe a, blood cell, a lung cell, a liver cell. They can become whatever. Now, stem cells, typically when you get stem cell therapy, they inject you with stem cells. Those stem cells generally come from fetuses. This isn't stem cells. They're not putting stem cells in your body when you eat this pill. This is actually helping your body create additional stem cells. Your own stem cells, which is probably the better way to go. STEM Active is an amazing product. I want you guys to go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. And again, STEM Active, there's two ways you can do it. The pill, which is how I've been grooving on it. The girlfriend's doing the gel right now, and she's got a calcification in her left shoulder. And we're curious to see what results we get from it. I mean, I've talked to a few people that are seeing major results. Two different people talking about their knees being significantly better, and one of them also talking about shoulder injury. She had a dislocation just like me, and she's seeing the same thing. And that's what I've talked about with myself. I dislocated my shoulder back. It's kind of always been a little bit of an issue for me. And I usually feel it when I work out, especially when I do incline bench. Like that's the one that's like, bitch. Like I feel it, and sometimes the pull downs will. But I'm not feeling it anymore at all. It's a trip. It went away. Like it's always been there, and it's not now. So I can only attribute it to this, and it is a powerful, powerful product that enhances your body's healing abilities tremendously. And I've experienced it, and I've talked to numerous people that have experienced it now, and it would probably be you as well. Amaze is a great collagen supplement. Again, your lack of collagen, your wrinkled skin, sagging skin, weakened or sore muscles, discomfort in joints, weakened or lifeless hair, like number of things. Collagen's the most popular or largest amount of protein in the body is collagen. I don't know how to say that correctly. It's the largest of the proteins. It's the highest quantity in the body. That one at least works, but it's not very good. But yes, collagen's a very, very powerful. It's a liquid, so you're taking it from a liquid standpoint, which means it's absorbed very quickly. Also extraordinarily powerful. This isn't like those herbal pills that takes your body a while to digest, so it's going to be hours before you even get any of that nutrition, if not none of it sometimes, because some of those pills just pass right through you, especially cheaper pills. This is liquid. It's immediately absorbed. AO12 is good for trying to remove the antioxidants in your body. Those are what really do promote aging. A lot of the aging spots that we see in our bodies are really antioxidants that or free radicals is another thing that have been at work doing damage. This is a good way to get rid of those. These actually attach to those free radicals and then pull them out of the body. It's powerful. And Prime is something I absolutely love. It's nitric oxide activator. And man, it just gives you more energy. I'm not talking like, it's not ridiculous, but you just got more energy. You just seem more awake, more alive, more, more focused, more conscious, it's weird. I don't know. I don't notice when it kicks in. I have no idea when it actually kicks in, but it's like when I actually think about it, I'm like, I totally have more energy right now. It's weird. And I'll even catch myself talking a little faster than I probably should. This stuff is very, very powerful. And then, of course, they've got a STEM Active for your pets. It helps your pets create more healing within their own bodies. That's it. That's what I love about these guys, too. They don't offer a whole crap ton of products. You don't get lost in the catalog. You've got a beautiful, small product list that all are amazing. And each one of us probably can do a lot of things to help our own health. Healthy Home is a beautiful product. It's also Heal Thy Home, which is, if you think of your body as a temple, that is kind of another way to look at it. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. I also want to remind you guys of the join, especially you guys that are content creators and everything out there. When you click join and you follow through that process, you actually get your own link, much like mine, maybe your channel name, .healthyhome.com. And you can start promoting the product and making commission as well. Or if you know people that you think you could probably talk this product, right? That you like this product so much, you've got friends that you could get to buy some as well, you're making commission. So if you go to join, there's a couple steps to do it, nothing too crazy. You've got to buy some product, so a little bit of money up front, but Outside of that, then you've got your own thing going on, and you start making a few bucks on the side, just like helping my channel when you go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. You're going to help yourself, you're going to help my channel, and you're going to help just keep yourself healthy so all your friends and family that get to enjoy you in less pain, or get to enjoy you healed, or get to enjoy you living longer. Yeah, see? You're helping them as well. It's the trifecta. Gotta love it. danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Make those healthy decisions, and it'll make a healthier life. Politico posted this, so don't get too lost, but where they do is they smear the whole story. I'm not really getting into the smear part, but Committee Chair James Comer's efforts, which span 24 departments and agencies, seeks to root out partisan staff who joined the executive branch as the former president was leaving the White House. The Kentucky Republican is requesting the names of all hires between January 1st, 2024 and January 20th, 2025, and the names of all political appointees during the Biden administration who have remained in the executive branch, among some other information. He is going to help root out the problematic people that we've still got in government that are trying to thwart Trump in every way, that are leaking information, that are not doing what needs to happen. We've got Georgia State Senate Committee is pursuing a thus far fruitless investigation of Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. They want to add Stacey Abrams to its list of targets. This is not good. But there is the funding of the 2018 campaign for governor, coordinated with voter participation group New Georgia Project, as well as a probe. New claims by Lee Zeldin that he found where Abrams inappropriately gave $2 billion in a coalition of groups. So they're digging into that. We'll see what or if we get anywhere from that. Top Justice Department attorneys involved in Biden-era prosecutions assigned to low-level cases. This is funny, and I don't know if this was one of the ones where they said, "Oh, you can't fire them yet while this is ongoing," or whatever. So what did Trump do, or whoever's in charge of this these different groups? But like Catherine Rakoczy, whoever she is, these people, there's like 6 of them, I think. They were all working on putting, riot people in jail, or maybe going after Trump on his boxes stuff, people going after Stuart Rhodes. There was just a number of these specific people. He didn't fire them. He demoted them. Hardcore. They literally went down to entry-level positions. One lady that was handling special cases is now handling misdemeanors. He literally busted them down all the way to the bottom. Now, maybe they still have their pay, and they're extraordinarily overpaid for what they do, but they certainly probably hate every moment of their lives. And if they don't meet the numbers that they have to meet, they might actually be able to have disciplinary action against them, meaning you've got to handle X number of misdemeanor cases a month, or you didn't meet the number that we require of you. And if you can't do that, well, you can't keep working here. That's how it's got to be, Catherine, or others. So that's kind of a funny way to get around some of that stuff. Judge rules head of watchdog agency must keep his job, says Trump bid to oust him was unlawful. Now, this is this chick, and she's Judge Amy Berman Jackson. She'll get her day, I'm sure. And again, this is while these things are working through court, basically says you can't fire him, but they can still put him on administrative leave or whatever. He doesn't have to actually remain in operation of his job. I don't care what she says. And I'm sure Trump or his people will do something to that effect. So, whatever. It's just part of the game that we're playing. No big deal. Democratic National Committee files a lawsuit against Trump. Party claims President Trump's executive order aimed at independent agencies is going to gut the federal election. They're literally going after him because he's removing the bureaucrats, because there is literally no executive branch department or group or agency or alphabet or whatever you want to call it. There is zero that constitutionally do not answer to the president. But the deep state's version of this is there's a number of independent agencies embedded within. That's a bureaucracy. They're not hired in by the people. They are voted in by the people. And these are bureaucratic positions that are given by presidents and appointed and stuff along those lines. This is favors and control from the really high ups. So, of course, the Democrat National Committee, which I don't know if they've even got standing to do this, they are taking aim at this executive order and are trying to sue Trump. No big surprise there. A federal judge blocked President Trump's executive order that would strip federal funding from institutions offering child sex changes for trans-identified minors. District Court Judge Lauren King had previously issued a 2-week restraining order after several Democratic state attorneys sued the Trump administration. That temporary order expired Friday, and after hearing arguments, King granted a preliminary injunction that blocks most of Trump's directive while the case is still litigated. I'm sure she's taking her time, but it'll be appealed. There'll be a process. Not sure how the money is going to flow in those times, but I think at some point there'll be a stay where you're like, you can't force them to spend money on this right now. Let's get through the case, and then he can start the spending back up. But no more. Not at the moment. This is something he promised the American people that voted him in office. White House posted this. Historic low. February saw the lowest illegal crossings in history. Just 8,326 cases in the whole month. 8,326. That was like a heavy day back in Biden's era. Just that many in the entire month. Every illegal was removed or prosecuted. Under Biden, 300,000 plus per month. The border is closed. The invasion is over. Gotta love it. Pentagon orders up to 3,000 troops and Stryker combat vehicles to the border. The Stryker combat vehicles, by the way, are these. I'm doubting they're going to have the giant turret on there. I don't even know what that is. Like, I don't know if it's 120 millimeter. I doubt it. It'd be huge. Probably smaller than that, like 105 maybe, or I don't even know. I'm not going to, I'll probably be wrong. But they've got a few different turrets, a few different things they could put on them. Machine gun up here, which is pretty hardcore. They've got more of like a 50 cal over here. There's a lot of different ways that they could set these up. Obviously, the armor is meant to give some protection in case they do take fire. These things can handle smallish arms fire, especially from distance. I don't know, like a 50 cal could probably, I don't know if 50 cal could punch through that. I don't know if Demolition Ranch has ever shot at one of these before. Guys, you know, he's ending his channel too, by the way. If any of you guys ever followed him, he's a lot of fun. That guy's good energy. He's definitely, I wouldn't say inspired me. He's, because I didn't find him until way after I started making videos. But I actually consider what he does to be like really, like almost like Mr. Beast, you know, like he just does really good video. He gets it. He's really good at what he does. So super cool that way. Pentagon has quietly renamed the Trump administration's ambitious national missile defense system. It's no longer Iron Dome for America. He's now renamed it to Golden Dome for America. Hegseth kind of let it slip recently, whether it was a slip or intentional or whatever. Golden Dome just seems so appropriate for the golden age and Trump. Trump is Mr. Gold, right? That's the big thing. And that could have a lot to do with the gold will destroy the Fed, by the way, because Trump, if you kind of think about it, is gold. That's what it's everything in his hotels. His hotels are gold colored, right? Like he's gold. Something to keep in mind. Satellite analysis shows rapid dash to house migrants at Guantanamo Bay. They've actually added just in very, very short period of time. Apparently, February 5th, there was approximately 50 new structures were assembled, and I think it's gone up even higher since. So yeah, they keep doing these satellite overflies and keep noticing that a whole lot of crap is being added. These temporary tents. This is going to be for the enhanced prison population, likely, that's coming. But they're saying overall it's about 125 new structures have been rapidly assembled. They are preparing for large populations of people to show up there. Now, for all the people that are like, yeah, all the deep state thugs, this is just to get the criminals out, folks. It is for now. The criminals that came illegally into our country. We'll be getting to the other ones, I think, soon enough, and maybe some of this will be that, but how many of those actually end up in Guantanamo? I'll be curious. I don't know. I mean, some, probably, but I don't think it's going to be, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I think some of the bad ones will. I think some of them are just going to lose their jobs and maybe their pensions, but whether they're hanging from a rope or something will be ridiculous. Pope Francis was on a ventilator. And then I think within about 24 hours, they managed to get him off the ventilator. So he actually seems to be heading in the right direction. I was going to tell him to give him remdesivir. It was guaranteed. We'll help him. We'll guarantee make the Pope healthy again. All you got to do is give him remdesivir and then put him on a ventilator. That's guaranteed to save his life. Now, I'm being facetious for those of you that don't realize that was the death sentence for I want to say it was close to 80% of people that ended up having hardcore COVID back in the day. That was killed my good friend Kirsten W. She was a sweetheart. Miss her a lot. Miss her a bunch. She was a sweet, sweet girl. Senior military, she was crazy as hell, but I enjoyed that about her. I love that about her. A senior military leader of the terrorist organization Haras al-Din, an Al-Qaeda affiliate, was killed in precision airstrike. This is pretty crazy. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Now, again, this isn't like I foresaw this. This is just that ninja weapon type thing. And it gives you an idea, and to all terrorists out there, it gives them an idea. You are never safe. Terror doesn't pay. Yeah. Boom. You see that? Boom. That's it. That's it. That, I'm pretty sure, was that weaponed thing. I don't know, some of the stuff seemed to broke off, but that was a kinetic weapon. Almost sure of it, because there was such a small explosion. That was probably more damage to the car itself. But literally the driver's side. That's the level of precision. That's, well, let's just call it insane. The U.S. State Department told Congress on Friday that it plans to sell nearly $3 billion in weapons to Israel, including thousands of bombs and $295 million worth of armored bulldozers that they said have been held up in previous administrations over human rights concerns. They are almost assuredly, and this, I think the bulldozers are specifically for this. This is that raid on Gaza that alleged sources were saying, and I kind of thought they were probably true because I think Israel's got some leaks on their side of the fence. But yes, they are probably going to go into Gaza within a month or so. Again, think of the stock market. DRS, likesgold.com. Iran's also potentially, I don't know, there's stuff on the chopping block. Iran has definitely beefed up its defense around its nuclear facility, because Trump's even said we can never let them have a nuclear weapon. And I think that's probably very true, because if they get one, they'll use it. And we know they will. So due to Hamas's refusal to accept the Witkoff outline, we have decided to halt all entry of goods and supplies into Gaza. If Hamas persists in its current stance and fails to release our hostages, there will be additional consequences. He spends 3.5+ minutes talking about this. We don't need that much time on that story, but they're making the way for the enhancement to the war down there. We obviously, I think Trump, and this is a big part of why I think there's an urgency to get the Russia-Ukraine war finished, because if we're going to have this other thing kind of spark up, we don't want to have another front happening too. And we don't need stuff sparking up in multiple places, because that makes it very easy for this to spin out of control very quickly. Gavin Newsom, the pile of trash that he is actually doing one good thing and then one really horrible thing. So the good thing is he's finally tapped into his emergency powers on Saturday. He's rolling back some environmental BS, because he's now actually going to basically, like Trump says, I think, rake the forest, or whatever the thing says. Trump said it one time, it was pretty funny. But he's going to rake the forest. He's going to finally get all that extra brush out of the forest, help clear it up so we don't have so many frickin' fires here in California. Because obviously what they've been doing, environmentalists, is causing the entire state to burn down. Is that better? It releases so much CO2 into the air that it undoes decade plus of reversals of any carbon emissions that you've done. Or as Bill Maher said, that was freaking hilarious, it takes away the pain of the first generation Prius driver. That car was ugly as sin. People driving it were just like totally, it's like having to suck it up for this crap ass car, right? That's a virtual signal just driving that car. So he's raking the forest finally. But here's where he's a douche-tard. I think that's possible to be one. I don't know if it is. He's doing it. Californians, I pray to God, if anything like this, you best be making noise. Democrat, Republican, nobody should be agreeing with this.
California Democrats now want to ban self-defense. Radical left California lawmaker Rick Zieber just proposed a new bill that would ban fighting back during violent home invasions. First, they came for our constitutional right to bear arms. Then, they slashed police budgets and packed the courts with soft-on-crime judges. Now, they want to take away our right to defend ourselves and our families in our own homes. California's war against law-abiding citizens must end.
Now, it would make sense someone that obviously knows martial arts would say that. And I'm saying that totally facetiously, and racist intention is intentionally being offered there, because I know a lot of people would run with that. I actually love the Asian culture. You guys know that. Obviously for us, weapons, the Second Amendment for sure, because my kung fu's, it's decent, but it's not good. You know, I'm not Neo, but I do have firearms, and yeah, plural. So this idea that they could pass a law that would strip that from us is actually impossible. There's long-standing cases and constitutional cases in the state of California for castle doctrine. Running outside of your home, you're effed. You're screwed. There's plenty of documentation of that. That's definitely one thing you cannot do, right? Like they've always said, if you have to do something horrible, you best drag them back inside the house if for some reason that's no longer the case. But there's plenty of proven cases for that. So this is not something that can happen, but just the very fact that somebody's trying to pass that is insane. Why wouldn't you be able to defend yourself in your own home? What? Because underprivileged people might be the ones that are robbing you, so you should just suck it up and enjoy it? Is this part of that whole white privilege thing? Well, you're a white homeowner, so, you know, if you get targeted, it's because you deserve it. Right? Like, huh? No. Sorry. They're going down in like Chinatown, man. I've got a couple prime choices, and then I got backups. I got all sorts of ways that I could suffice this problem. Don't think you're going to make it more than 2 steps into my house. I've got a nice elevated position to take you out. Just boom. So, no. Thank you, Gavin, and your crazy-ass people there. National Archives launches new JFK assassination website. It's not all that, but they're going to put everything up as fast as they can digitize it. Here it is. archives.gov/research/JFK. That's archives.gov/research/JFK. It's going to update over many, many months and years. So, yeah, there you go. They're putting something together. Yoo-hoo! House Republicans are drawing up plans to scrub Black Lives Matter Plaza from the Capitol. They're going to remove the, how large, at least 35-foot tall black letters. They're not really tall as much as wide, I think is a better way to, it's probably a better choice. 35-foot wide yellow letters. Tall implies a Z axis. It's off the ground. And no, these aren't off the ground. They're not even done in block letters. I mean, whatever. Black Lives Matters would have been so much cooler. Whatever the case is, they're actually thinking of getting rid of it. It's probably a good thing. We don't need to specify anything. This case is just getting weirder. The Gene Hackman thing and his beautiful wife. Apparently her body was mummified slightly. This is coming out in a couple places now, so I'm starting to think there's some truth to that one. We also have come to find out that Gene Hackman's pacemaker, the last connection it made, or the last event record that it showed, was February 17th. So they're pretty sure that was his last day alive. They're not sure what's going on with the wife. She seemed to have been close to the ground. Some pills were strewn about. She was partially mummified, which is very weird. One of the dogs was dead. 2 of them still alive. So if they've been dead since 2017, one can only wonder, maybe they just got into the bag of dog food in the pantry and they've been able to feed themselves. Like, they didn't get any of that, but somehow the dogs have stayed alive and probably pooped in the house, I assume. But I don't know. That's weird. And then Randy Quaid posted something super, super crazy and basically said they were murdered. He says he's had a number of friends that have been offed, and so I don't know what was going on. Gene Hackman was stupid old. Like 95 or something? Stupid old. So yeah, 95, and his wife was 65, which, god dang, good on you, buddy. Wow. But weird. Just so much weirdness around this. So again, they didn't have carbon monoxide poisoning. They're doing toxicology. Nothing's come out yet. I think this is Hackman here. He just looks horrible. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but he was 95. I mean, shit. He's not going to... This was the last time he was seen in public here, was this picture, when he went to some Oscars award or something. I don't know. I don't know, folks. Getting weird. Some of these people were either going to talk, and that could have been the case because he was about to die anyway. Maybe he was like, yeah, I'll tell you what I know. I've seen a bunch of stuff. So, I don't know, maybe they killed his wife in front of him. maybe he was dying and she was trying to get pilled. Like, there's so many crazy thoughts I can come up with, but we don't know. Crazy is definitely what's going on. So a lot's happening, folks. I want to let you know that. Oh, I want to remind you guys too, one more thing. We're already long. Might as well add one more thing. We've got the merch. Truththread.shop. Truththread.shop. You definitely want to check this out. We've got some really good merch over here. There it is. And we've got, of course, the 5G Great Awakening. The Great Awakening Dan Radio style shirts. We've also got the baseball, sweatshirts, long sleeve. They got it all. They got all these crazy different stuff. It's awesome. Got some really cool mugs for President Trump, 4547. She did a really good job making these, kind of make it look like the Jack Daniels bottle, and it's got the Great Awakening of my stuff on the back. We've got a just hardcore Dan Radio style only thing, on the fringe essentially, but the Great Awakening and the OTF flag on the back, which is pretty cool, the digital sort of looking flag. I like that a lot. Then we've got some other stuff. It's kind of more like, let's let people in the world know what's going on. So 9/11, never forget. Definitely not what we thought it was. In fact, all of these shirts have kind of some extensive stuff on the back. And this is where these shirts are like a lot of fun, right? Like it's never forget. Sometimes truth can be stranger than lies. I talk about the North and South Towers, the Pentagon, Building 7, right? So a lot of stuff in here, a lot of stuff. And it's basically just giving information to people. They've got one for the Ephesians 6:11, fight, when Trump was shot on that infamous day. I guess I chose the wrong shirt, but whatever. None of these are the back. But yeah, you get the point. There's some cool stuff on the back of that. And we've got the 5G warfare shirts, which are also super cool. Right? We got the 5 generations going on. And you are down here at 5th generation. So again, explaining what 1st gen was, battles fought with massed manpower, with uniformed soldiers and all that stuff. So a lot of fun. Got these great shirts. Go to truththread.shop, truththread.shop. And definitely when you get your order confirmation email, if you could do me a favor and email that email, or even I think if you go here and try to contact, I think this does work too, but if you go to the email and respond back to it with a picture of yourself with the shirt or whatever on, holding the cup or whatever, the hats. They got the hats here too. So if you've got a picture, that would be great. You don't have to put your face in it if you're worried about it. Totally get that. But at least have it on your body if you could. It just makes it better. One lady put them on her horses. That was kind of cool. So either or. But yeah, just having it sit there sometimes is not quite the same thing, but whatever. I'm not going to, beggars can't be choosers. But I do need a few more pictures. I am literally just surprised I can't drum up a few more pictures from you guys. It's a shame. Truththread.shop. Truththread.shop. Want to make one more video? I think I need literally 5 more pictures. And I should basically have enough to make a 2-minute cool video for this. We'll be playing it this week regardless. Maybe I'll just make the timing between the pictures a little different and then I can make it work. All said, it's awesome products. It's a great way to help let people know what's going on, and you're helping the channel. You're helping a family that's helping the channel, and you're helping get the word out. These are all really good things. Truththread.shop. Truththread.shop. I love you guys. I'm glad you're fighting this fight with me. I'm going to keep fighting it with you. Shoulder to shoulder. We will get there to this golden land. It's not far away. We're definitely getting close. I think most of you can feel it at this point. We definitely got some bumps on the road coming. Be strong. Be prepared. Your ripples are going to make a huge difference. The sleeping masses don't realize what's actually happening. You guys got to help with that. That's it. It's all we can do. It's all we can do. And you'll be surprised how big a difference it'll make and how good you will feel. That's the best part. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.